In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 7 most overpowered guns in Warzone 2 right now, and I'll be giving you the best class setups and tunings for those guns so they perform at the highest possible level. Now, the very first class that I want to take a look at is actually the setup that I was running in the OpTic $100,000 tournament, where I managed to come second, playing with Vikkstar, knocking players out like Symphony and Nadeshot, Dr. Disrespect and Courage. It was an absolutely insane tournament, and I'm really happy with how he managed to do. But one of the reasons I was able to do that was because of the TAC 56. This is the best assault rifle in the game right now. It kind of does it all. It's incredibly versatile. It's good at close range. It's good at mid to long. So if you can only get your hands on one weapon from the buy station, for example, and you're not getting your loadout drop from a stronghold or a loadout drop, the TAC 56 might be the gun that you want to go for. Now, this is the best long-range build. We've got the Harbinger D20 muzzle, we've got the Tundra Pro barrel, the VX Pineapple underbarrel, the 60-round mag, and then the VLK 4x OpTic. Now, what you could also do if you want to have it as a bit more of an all-round build is go for like a Chrono Mini Pro sight. It makes it a little bit difficult at those longer ranges, but as I said, it becomes an all-round weapon, and that's the OpTic that I was actually using in the $100,000 tournament. So whenever I went to a buy station to get a gun early on, I knew I was going to be able to pick kills up at all range. Now, when we take a look at the tunings for this on the Harbinger, it's recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. The Pro barrel, we've got damage range, and then also all the way up to recoil steadiness. The OpTic, when we use the VLK sight, one of the biggest things you always want to do with these OpTics is make it so you tune it so it's far. That gives you less visual recoil, makes it a lot easier to control that recoil and land your shots. And then the ADS speed all the way up to top, because flinch resistance, honestly, is pointless. Then we've got the 60-round mag, and then the VX underbarrel, the VX Pineapple underbarrel, which is then tuned like just kind of by default. It doesn't need, it's just tuned to ADS speed on the bottom side, and that's the best all-round build for the TAC. I love this gun, and is what I would suggest you use if you're going for an all-rounder. Now, the second overpowered gun that you're going to want to be using in Warzone 2 is actually just a basic secondary. It's the P890 pistols. And I got a lot of questions about these when I was using them in the tournament, because they are ridiculous up close. Like, they will just shred anyone to pieces inside of a building. Yes, it's not going to be as good at those kind of like little longer ranges, but inside of a building, nothing beats these pistols. You'll find when using these pistols inside of buildings, no one, and I mean no one, stands a chance. You'll just find yourself spamming your triggers as fast as you can to fire as many bullets as possible, and you'll just annihilate everyone, and they won't have an idea what's happened to them. So for the class setup for these pistols, you've got the FT Steelfire muzzle, which is then tuned for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. We've then got the Bruin Express trigger, which is then tuned just completely by default. You don't need to do anything to this. We've then got the 12-round mag. We've got a Kimbo that is incredibly important. Do not run these without a Kimbo. And then we've got the 1MW pistol laser. That's the class setup. Give these things a go. So our third overpowered gun in Warzone 2 is without doubt the best SMG in the game right now, and without the Fennec 45, we would not have beaten Symphony and Nadeshot, because Vic was able to pick up the final kill thanks to the incredibly high fire rate of the Fennec. This gun will delete anyone at close range. It has got one of the fastest times to kill in the game thanks to its incredibly high fire rate and damage profile that will just delete opposition. There is a reason every pro player is rocking this as their SMG. This is their go-to close range weapon. If you don't use the Akimbo pistols, you want to be going for the Fennec. Now, most people will not use the Overkill perk class package because it's not got as good of perks. So you may buy the Fennec from the buy station and then have like your TAC 56 of your Akimbo pistol class setup as your loadout drop that you'll get from like a stronghold or an actual physical loadout drop. But the Fennec 45, unbelievable. The class setup that you're going to want to use is this. We've got the Fennec Covert Force Barrel that is then tuned for recoil steadiness and damage range. You've then got the Phase 3 Grip, which is recoil stabilization, and then on the bottom, absolutely nothing. Then we've got the Fennec 45 round mag. That is 100% needed because of the over 1,000 bullets for RPM, which just makes your ammo disappear. So you need that 45 round mag. You've then got the Fennec Rubber Grip, which is then recoil steadiness and sprint to fire speed. And then you've also got the VLK Laser 7MW. But I love to use this SMG. It is completely and utterly overpowered, and there's a reason that every pro player is using it. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to my partners Roccat, whose mice and keyboards I've used for years now, including their brand new Vulcan 2 Max, which you're going to want to go ahead and check down in the description below if you're looking for a new keyboard. This thing is an absolute beast. Cannot recommend it enough. Go check it out. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now, our next overpowered gun is the RPK LMG. This is very much at the top of the meta. It's kind of between this or the TAC 56. Courage and Dr. Disrespect were using this against us, and they were able to pick up a lot of kills that we were unable to grab because of the extra range that it had, because of it being a LMG compared to the assault rifle. So for a long range weapon, the RPK is probably the best automatic weapon in the entire game. You want to run the Polar Fire S muzzle. You've got the that tuned for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. You've then got the Pineapple Underbarrel, which is just ADS speed, tuned for ADS speed, and just kind of left-hand side is left alone. You've then got the Demo X2 Grip, which is recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. You want to aim, tune this gun to have the best recoil possible, so you're able to land your shots easily. You've then got the Heavy Sniper Support Stock, which is then tuned for aiming idle stability. And then you've got the Schlager 3.4x OpTic, which is then tuned for far and ADS speed. But honestly, if you're locking down those long-range fights, like whether you're holding down the building or kind of like holding the edge of a circle, the RPK is what you want to go for. Like, the mobility is dreadful for it, so it's not a good all-rounder. So if you could only go for one gun, I wouldn't recommend this. I'd go for the TAC 56. But if you've got a total loadout where you can get an SMG to kind of pair with the RPK, it is unstoppable. Very high stopping power, great fire rate, easy to use. I love this thing. Give it a go and let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. So our next overpowered gun in Warzone 2 is the other SMG that you want to go for if you don't want to be using the Fennec. This has got way more mobility, and it is the Lachmann Sub, or better known as the MP5. Now, the great thing with the Lachmann is it is incredibly mobile. Like, if you want a gun where you can strafe speed and kind of make it difficult for the opponent to hit you, the Lachmann is what you want to be going for. Now, for the build itself, I've got the X10 RR40 muzzle, which gives you kind of like bullet velocity, damage range, recoil smoothness, and sound suppression. Best muzzle for you to go for. You've then got the F-TAC, and then that is tuned for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. Surprise, surprise. We've got the F-TAC M Sub 12-inch barrel, which is tuned for recoil steadiness and then damage range. You've got the 40-round mag because you need the extra bullets. Like, especially if you're playing quads, like 30 rounds is just quite simply not enough. You've then got the Lachmann TCG-10 rear grip, which is tuned for recoil steadiness and sprint to fire speed. And then the LM stockless mod, just because you want the maximum amount of like sprint to fire, ADS speed, and movement speed. So you've got that mobility, and then also that hit recoil control as well. So you can, if you don't want to and you want to have that max strafe speed and you're fighting someone at close range, you don't necessarily have to ADS with the Lachmann Sub. But what are the overpowered guns? The MP5 was always going to be in the meta, so give it a go. Now, our next overpowered gun in Warzone 2 is the AK-74U, or the Kastov 74U, and this thing hits like an absolute truck. It's one of my favorite floor loot within Warzone 2. If I see this at the start of the game, I'll always grab this. Even if I don't necessarily get the loadout version of the gun, I always want to use that Kastov 74U because it's a great all-rounder. It's like that in-between between an assault rifle and an SMG, with incredible stopping power that is going to get you a lot of kills that you otherwise would not have gotten. But it's also a great sniper support weapon as well, because as I said, it's that in between being an SMG and an assault rifle, so it can take players out quite comfortably at those medium ranges, but also destroy up close. And like we all know, the time to kill up close in this game is slightly ridiculous. If you get a headshot or two, just the person that you come up against is just going to be deleted. Now, for the class setup for this, you want the Echoless 80 muzzle, which is tuned for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. You've then got the short tack 330mm barrel, which is tuned for recoil steadiness and damage range. We've then got the X10 Nexus grip, which is then tuned for recoil stabilization, and then on the bottom, absolutely nothing. Got the 45 round mag, because when I'm playing quads, I need those extra bullets, so I don't have to spend my time reloading. And like, I've been killed so many times because I'm forced to reload, and because you cannot reload cancel in this game, having those extra rounds is so important when you're taking on multiple enemies at a time. We've then got the Marquise R7 stock, which is then tuned for just aiming idle stability, and then also ADS speed as well. And that is the AK-74U. I love this thing. Give it a go and let me know what you think. And our final overpowered gun in Warzone 2 is the Minibak. This is the perfect SMG for quads because it has got a huge ammo size and just destroys. It doesn't look like it should dominate, but it just does. There is something about the Minibak. It's always been the case in Warzone when we're back in the day of Black Ops Cold War where we had the Bullfrog, but this gun is built for Battle Royale. Like when you need to take on players inside of a building or even a little bit further, you've got enough bullets in your mag to just be able to spray and pray. It's got a very solid time to kill. It's got great mobility. It's just a great all-round gun. I wouldn't use it for solos. I'd always go for the Fennec. However, in trios and quads, this is probably a more reliable weapon because of the situations that you'll find yourself in the game. Now, for the build, we go for the FTAC Castle Cump muzzle, which is then recoil stabilization and then gun kick control. We then go for the back 9 279mm barrel, which is then tuned for damage range and recoil steadiness. We've then got the Ostrasat stock, which is then tuned for aiming idle stability and ADS speed. You've then got the True Tack grip, which is ADS speed as well. And then we've got the Minibak grip mag. Now, as I said, this has got like a 64 round mag. It's incredibly versatile and one of the best guns in Warzone 2. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.